The grandma kills everyone at the end. Oh my god, it's crazy.
Welcome to Immediate Review, where we see a movie, an early release of a movie in theaters, and then review it immediately.
Sorry, when I lie, I was lying about that spoiler. When I lie, I throw up. It's a totally normal thing that people do.
Yep. All right.
And we've got spoons, you notice. We subverted your expectations. We got our spoons out.
Yeah, we just saw Knives Out. Except they're spoons. Because, yeah. I explained the joke to you, but I don't want to spoon feed you.
Alright, so we're gonna start off no spoilers for me, and then we're gonna pass it to Peter and he's gonna spoil it for you. Okay, so alright. I'm gonna say the first 30 minutes of this movie, I was like, this is really good. I was like, I'm not like loving it, but it is really good and really well made. And, the characters are fairly interesting. And the way it's editing is intriguing. And it starts off in a very creative way. And the acting's great. And it really has a very strong start. Stronger than I expected. And then, once subversion time goes down, it kind of just... I guess, to quote our 3 from Hell review, cascades into a jumble of nothingness. I don't know. It just kind of was all over the place after that for me. I mean, I still think the performances are very strong. It's very well shot. I love the cinematography. The music's not bad. It's just like, it's well made. It is a very technically well made movie. But just where the mystery wants to go is, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of just messy and all over the place. I guess what other non-spoiler things do I have to say about it? I don't dislike it as much as I expected, but I was definitely like... I don't know. It's not going to make my worst movies of the year list, but it's, I saw Spoons in. We'll get into more things. But, PJ, what'd you think?
All right.
Spoilers!
So I'll start just by, not going too deep into spoilers, and we'll kind of just, wade into the shallow end together. So as most people know, this is a Rian Johnson whodunit, and like Dakota said, it does set up really well. It's acted phenomenally. Like, if you know any of the actors in it, it's acted good. We get to see Chris Evans, and I think his second role since he left Marvel, and honestly, he does play a different character. Like, he isn't just the standard I'm a Marvel good guy. He's the standard I'm a Marvel bad guy.
He's basically the same character from Fierce People, though, if you've seen that. Deep cut, what up? Go on.
But, go on, next question. But yeah, it's like, he doesn't really have a ton of parts in the movie. Towards the end, he kind of comes about, but this is one thing I want to talk about before I actually start spoiling things. There was too many actors in this movie. Whoever wrote it, I'm pretty sure it was written by Rian Johnson. He did not know what to do with
Do you really need to ask that question, man?
He didn't know what to do with all of his actors. I think the kid who played Bill from It, the new It, he had, I think, 5 or 6 lines, and they were short.
Oh, he's just a Nazi.
Yeah, literally, he just plays a fucking, and every character... they have the characters that are middle of the ground have substance, but then the other characters are broken into liberal stereotype, conservative stereotype, and then one stereotype who
poorly done as always.
Yeah, is
fucking stop dating your movies with this shit. People are gonna look back on it in 10 years and just be like, oh yeah,
there's a lot of commentary on the whole Mexican border thing.
I don't, regardless of how I feel or how anybody feels, it's just like there's a good way to do it and a wrong way to do it. This does it poorly. It's just like, it'd be like if you're watching Back to the Future and they start discussing Reaganomics at the table or some shit.
Yeah.
There might be some throwaway line that someone's going to at me, but still, like, there's like long-winded discussions that are like, oh, he's locking up kids, and it's like, my God, come on, we're inundated with this shit all the time on social media. It's like, we know, let's not date our movies with this. Sorry, rant, go on.
But yeah, so it's very heavy-handed, and the characters aren't unique in the sense that character trait is important. Like, it only is used to fuel a couple arguments that don't really end up going anywhere, and don't really end up changing the motivations of any of the characters. There's no real reason why it's there besides the fact that Rian Johnson wanted to comment on it. And it's like, if you were criticizing Last Jedi, he's already commented on it a fuck ton the last couple
my
years.
God, he totally was so like, there's a bunch of trolls and fucking on Twitter and Instagram, like.
So
sorry.
So anyways, while the movie was acted incredibly well, I did really love the acting from pretty much fucking everybody. I'll start getting into my spoiler.
It wasn't a bad performance in the bunch. I mean, there's some ham. There's some grade A, thick cut, smoky ham in this movie. I say there is. All right, sorry.
So the first part that I didn't really enjoy about this movie, was the way that it presented mystery. It kind of was full of these like double reveals where a character's being interviewed, and they'll have a reveal in their head of like what happened, and then we have a reveal of our detective character of him figuring things out, and then that happens a few times in the first bits of the interview scene where we'll have something happen where like the husband's like cheating on the wife, and there's like a letter to that and whatnot, and he doesn't want anybody finding out, and we see that, and then later, once they're outside talking to the like nurse character, is it revealed again that that's true, and so it's kind of solidifies twice that like the characters
was true the whole time.
Yeah, that the characters' envisioning of what's happening is true, and so the mystery happens. Whatever it goes down, and it kind of builds on that of like, this interpretation that the girl experienced is true. She is guilty and needs to hide it in order to make sure old man dies the way that in the future and acts the way that he wanted it to, I guess. And so then it's slowly revealed that that's not exactly the whole truth, and that things kind of happen. And that's kind of how the movie goes. It's like things don't really get discovered. They just kind of end up falling at this detective's feet. And they even comment on that, about how he's not a good detective and she's not a good murderer because the truth... And he says, it's just like, I just hang out at places where crimes happen and talk to people, and then the truth just falls at my feet. So essentially the whole reason he's an amazing private detective is because it just so happens to go to these situations and the answers fall at his feet. And that kind of happens like at the end. And I mean, to tell you the truth, just like spoiler for right now, like if you've watched the trailers, you already know who the fucking murderer is. Like, take anyone who's behaving in a way that you would be like, that's not normal behavior for somebody who's experienced a death close to them. It's him. Like, it's stupid. And seriously, in regards,
our spoiler lines are very blurred in this review.
Who's the biggest actor to leave a franchise as of recently in this movie who happens to be a suspect?
Don Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah. No. There's one person. If you can't figure it out, then go see the movie, and it'll subvert your expectations, I'm sure.
Toni Collette.
Shut the fuck up. And yeah, it really just it tries to do the whole mystery thing, and then it like, I don't know. I think Rian Johnson's had so much of like, your movie subverted my expectations so much. It's just that's his thing now, because there are even lines of just like, once he's just like, yeah, the girl didn't do it, and this is a suicide, and he like runs away. They're just like, well, I didn't expect that. And it's like Rian Johnson just fucking jerking his
But
fucking dick that I subvert everybody's expectations. Everybody. Ugh, and just fucking nuts all over the editing board.
And I want to make it clear, it's not like we're like, oh, I want what I want to happen, but it's like, it's this whole, like, the term subversion of expectations is like just a shield for random shit happens. Because there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Basically, this year's reference movie for how to do something good, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, subverts your expectations with things and does it very well. And isn't, I don't know, as, I guess, oh shit, we got 1 minute battery. Time to change formats!
Yay!
So yeah, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And Rian Johnson has just mastered the obnoxious wrong way of doing it at this point. Yeah, I don't know. I just the momentum of the movie constantly shifts, I think, with his whole, that's the problem with how he does it, is you don't really know or care what to invest in, because at any time, in any moment, your expectations can be subverted because stuff doesn't really end up mattering most of the time.
Yeah, and it's like the clues that they leave where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to pick up on. It's like they showed a picture at the beginning where it was just like, hell, anybody could have done it. And it's like, that's a perfect example of how the mindset is going into this movie. You walk in thinking everyone is going to be able to be guilty, essentially. So there's no real point in me investing in any of the espionage or like plot that's happening, because at some point down the road, it's going to be revealed that none of that is important, and that something else happened that we weren't told about, that maybe was foreshadowed by like a tiny little line that is fucking unimportant, and everything up until that point is going to focus on something that isn't what we're supposed to be focusing on. And so, you know, you kind of just end up waiting until the big reveal happens, just like Jamie Lee Curtis says, and then it does, and then it's just being, you know, a guy explaining what's fucking happening. And yeah, like,
Rian Johnson's shit would work well for books, I think. Honestly, if this was like a long book, I'd probably really enjoy it. Because books, you can do random things, random plot things, and random turns and make it interesting, honestly.
Well, and like, think about like, the Harry Potter books, honestly. Like, there are tons of stuff that go back to...
J.K. Rowling's current problem with Fantastic Beasts is it's all fucking random shit because she's a book writer.
Yeah. And, you know, if you go back and you read, like, Chamber of Secrets, you know, when he's in Borgin and Burke's, they run into something like a book and whatnot that's cursed that ends up coming back in Half-Blood Prince, and it's like that tiny little bit of foreshadowing that wouldn't matter, like that's not something that people would focus on. But once you've read everything and you come back to it, that tiny little line is going to be praised as like, oh, it actually was foreshadowed, this tiny little piece.
And I'm sure the movie will have that as well.
Yeah,
people are going to love this movie.
No, and some people did, but I did hear some people go, man, it was really bad walking out.
Really?
But the younger kids, they were like, oh, like, what a twist! Like, Rian Johnson's the next Shyamalan, man. Like, in the best way.
He ain't that bad. No, honestly, I feel like there were several times where I was thinking, man, I think if like Rian Johnson had a co-writer, he could kill it. Someone to just wrangle him in.
Yeah.
When he just like, he's a little too, I don't know, like, you know, who am I to talk? I love Kevin Smith. He's the ultimate like self-indulgent fanboy, but I don't know, I guess you expect it in Kevin's movies. The type of movies Kevin makes are welcoming for that sort of meta, like stuff like that. And in this movie, it just feels awkward. In Last Jedi, it really felt awkward because no Star Wars movie has ever done that. So yeah, I also wanted to mention meta. There were a lot of times, it's a big pet peeve of mine, when movies do something really stupid or generic, and then put a line in the movie about how stupid and generic it was, as if that's justification. This movie does it. This movie has one of
times.
several times. The only one I can think of, help me out if you can remember more, is the car chase. There is a horrible, horrible car chase. The most boring car chase in the history of cinema, probably. There's a terrible edit where it like shows the cops chasing her, or were they cops? Sorry,
I mean, yeah, there was like a cop and a private detective,
Yeah,
but the
sorry.
cops seem to think that the private detective is like worth bringing into their jurisdiction for some reason.
It's fucking late and I've had a long day, but so they're chasing him and it like shows their speedometer. It's like 80 miles per hour, and then it cuts to Ana de Armas, and in her car, and she's driving, and it shows her speedometer. It's like 60, and it's like
It was 55, man.
it was 55, yeah, and it's like, oh, she's going significantly slower. Then it cuts to a front shot similar to this, just the camera's further back, and you can see the car in the background, the cop car, and he's like going the same speed as her. Horrible editing.
Oh yeah, and then the next cut is the cop like right next to like pull the car over, maybe.
Yeah.
Pull over.
And then they go down an alley. There's a turn, and then the cop like hits a pallet, a wood pallet, stops this car.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dang it, there's a wood pallet. And then they get out,
Foiled again.
and the detective is like, that was the worst car, or something like that was the
That was the stupidest car chase in the history of fucking whatever.
in the history of the world, or
Yeah,
something like
it's
that.
like-
And I just like I said out loud, it was another moment where I think I went, are you fucking kidding
Yeah, you
me, or
did.
something? Just like, I hate that shit. Just write something good. Deadpool is the only movie that can get away with it. Like,
That's true.
yeah, I don't know. There were several other times where it did that, where it just made fun of its stupid choices, and I don't know. I really don't appreciate that. What other general things do you want to say before we go down the list real quick?
I mean, general things. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't really like how the movie just tried to play out mystery. Like it just thinks it's so intelligent and that we are really stupid. And for a while I was stuck on the whole like morphine bag thing, cuz the internal parts of the house, like what the house looks like, kind of makes like it makes at least me question what time frame the movie takes place in, because everybody's talking in like fairly elegant accents and whatnot. We've got
That's part of why the cell phones feel extra intrusive.
Yeah,
This could
exactly.
almost be a timeless movie.
yeah, and it would make way more sense to me personally, because the second that she was like, yeah, I gave you 100 milligrams of morphine, it would be like they aren't gonna notice an extra 97 milligrams of morphine fucking missing from her bag.
I thought about that.
They're
when
not
it,
gonna
when
like
it held up the bottles and they were the same amount of
yeah, and
liquid.
it's like they're not gonna like do a toxicology report on the guy who slit his neck, and then like later on, an hour or two into the movie, it's like, oh, by the way, toxicology reports. And like I was like, yeah, fucking thank you, but like it seriously plays out fucking half the movie or more as if that isn't a problem, and then the movie decides, oh yeah, we're gonna focus on that completely because that's the fucking like biggest incriminating evidence out of everything. Like, and it just, I don't know, it just like does that. It's just like, yeah, you'll switch, and then the building's burned down, and just like who's fucking doing it. Like he jumps in on there and is just like, yeah, it's like you fucking from the very fucking beginning, even with watching the trailers and whatnot, and like
I didn't guess from the trailers, but yeah, it was pretty fucking obvious to me too.
I fucking knew it. The second that the trailers happen, it's like everybody's acting like a certain way, and this one dude is acting a completely different way, and guess why? Because he's fucking involved. It's like
no, dude, but here's the thing with the whole. He subverts the expectations so frequently that during that whole spiel, when it's explaining how he did everything, I swear to God, it goes on for 10 minutes explaining how his character, what was his character's name? Roland?
Ransom.
Ransom. What a dumb fucking name. Ransom.
Or Hugh.
Hugh Ransom.
Hugh did this. That line was fucking dumb. You did this. It was huge.
I was getting distracted. Oh, that whole scene plays out for like 10 minutes, and like I'm just thinking in my head, like, are you just gonna say this isn't what happened?
I was expecting a Fantastic Beasts Volume 2.
I can't invest in anything Rian Johnson does because he vocally makes it his mission to subvert everything. So it's just like...
Yeah, it's like whatever he's going to present for the first 2 hours of the movie is pointless. And then you just wait for him to just tell you what happened. And then it's like, okay, cool.
And upon rewatch, I'm sure this one, I think I'll like it just about the same, honestly. Yeah. Like, this isn't the type of movie, I think, where I'm gonna, like, be like, oh, you know what? No, it's great. Or, like, oh, it's even worse than I thought. It's just like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that was Knives Out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just like, it's fine. If somebody likes it, I'm not gonna be like, you're fucking dumb. Like, it's a well-crafted movie, and there's some clever lines. It's just, I just think Rian Johnson's a sloppy writer, and his plots are messy, and
his dialogue writing was good, though. Like, yeah. I thought that the actor's dialogue was good. It was just the mystery and reveal of it.
There's a lot of great shit in Last Jedi too. Yeah. He gets self-indulgent and full of himself in the wrong way, in a I don't know, like, in just a way that doesn't suit the type of movies he's trying to make.
Right. And I struggle with, like, whodunits too, because I always end up comparing them to other ones, like The Usual Suspects or something like that. It's like, this movie, I guess acting wise, I would say compares to that, but in terms of, like, plot and reveal and tension and, like, stake, I don't feel like there was a lot at stake in this movie. Like, I feel like, in terms of like the reveal and the mystery and whatnot, there isn't a ton of, like, I think the only scene that I really felt had good tension was when Russell's character shows up at the maid's or the nurse's house, and he's like, you better give me the money or I'm gonna deport your mom, basically. And that scene felt menacing, but that was
where it was cutting to the cane walking and stuff.
Yeah, the cane shots, the editing there was great. The color
There's a lot
was great.
Of effective scenes.
And the framing of Russell's character in particular, how it's shot down below and up at him, and it's dark, and then it's shot above, down at her, I thought was really good and built the sense of tension and the tapping and whatnot. Yeah, and there's one other thing I want to talk about too, of that shit that I didn't really understand. In the trailer's like completely built around this, like, note that our detective's tapping, and he'll tap it and it'll go ping, and it'll happen all throughout, timed perfectly with the music, and he does it within our first, like, 2 scenes, our interview scenes. Anytime somebody says something that fucking about something, he taps the fucking key.
My impression was it was when the conversation was starting to get off topic, or he was cueing the detective to ask a specific question.
Well, that's the thing. The detective was the one,
and Rian Johnson did not write him well either. He just Rian Johnson struggled to make his character not, damn, oh shit, that is whack.
Yeah, and
He did it, man.
Yeah.
He cared the least about him.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's be real.
I mean, yeah, and his lines, because you were mentioning the stuff that's like, kind of, oh, the dumbest car chase in the world. He had a couple of those where it was just like, oh, it's to protect a love relationship. Like, get that weak shit out of here.
All of his stuff was just reactionary, just like pop dialogue. It is a trope of the token black guy to just, spout reaction exposition once in a while and not have any real character depth in any way. He's just the detective who interviews him. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he was literally used as, like, the writing form of, like, essentially, like, justifying Rian Johnson's ego in thinking that, like, yeah, these specific things of why someone would murder somebody, that's not going to be my reveal. That shit's weak. That shit's whack. Get that fucking whack shit out of here. Mine's going to be even more subverting your expectations, and the reveal is going to be so big that I can't even show it to you. I have to have a character tell you, because if I show you, then it won't subvert your expectations. Like, fuck.
Okay, so, all right, we've gone over it. So, themes and meaning. Is this, the end of the movie, like, is it about something? Because he's like, you're a good person, I say, you deserve this house, and these people are not good people, I say, that girl vapes, and that kid's a Nazi. It's basically
Nazi
the same
masturbator.
thing. And, I don't know, and at the end it was almost just like,
The theme that I got was basically that there's a big fear in the conservative community, I suppose, where they think that, like, Mexicans are coming over the border and they're getting into our houses, and they're like, it's
so
like...
this is about an immigrant literally taking
Yeah,
away
literally
their house?
taking over a house of a rich person.
Holy shit, there was a line in there where he said that, like, he bought it from, but it wasn't people from, never mind, continue.
No, he was just like, yeah, like, and so that's that I viewed from it. It was like, all of you are bad people who happen to somewhat lean, the majority of them leaned onto the conservative side. There was 3, I think, and then 2 of them were liberal. The mother from Hereditary, she didn't like Mexicans being locked up, and the other girl, Meg, I think, kept being called a social justice warrior or something like that because she was going to a liberal arts college.
Yeah, it's also cartoonishly.
Yeah,
I live my life on fucking social media.
Yeah, just blatant stereotype. No defining the archetype in any other direction. It's just like, this is who they are. The cookie cutter internet fucking mindset of who this person is. Bam, put them on the fucking screen. Yeah. And they didn't even really have compelling.
Toni Collette is the other ham in this movie. She's just like, what? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I totally didn't kill my dad. Like, I don't know if you've seen United States of Terror. Have you seen it at all?
I haven't.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not trying to talk shit on Toni Collette. She ate it up, but she is undeniably over the top and like hammy. But yeah, in United States of Terror, she has multiple personality, DID, and and she just plays all these kooky characters, and that's what it felt like to me. It felt like I was watching one of her kooky characters from United States of Tara, and Daniel Craig, I say, and they make a Foghorn Leghorn joke, and I'm just like, he sounds like Foghorn Leghorn. Why do you make him sound like Foghorn Leghorn then? Why do you just do it and then make a joke about how stupid it is? I don't know, whatever. Those, those type of things are personal preference.
It's interesting that we were talking about, like, George Lucas and Jar Jar lines and whatnot, with just, like, ridiculous accents and shit. And just, like, the next movie we go and see has, like...
It's in the script.
Just talk like Foghorn Leghorn.
All right, so, it does seem like that's kind of a theme, but it's done poorly. It seems like it's done by some rich motherfucker in Hollywood who likes to fight trolls on the internet all day.
Yeah. I mean, the theme to me was basically, like, be a good person, don't do bad with the wealth that you're inherited, or your Mexican nurse will inherit it all.
She wasn't Mexican.
She was Brazilian.
Directing. Rian Johnson directed it. Writing.
Rian Johnson wrote it.
Acting was really fucking
good. It was really good. Really good. Hell yeah. Okay. Okay, sound design. I need to talk about sound design. Okay. Rian Johnson doesn't know how to do sound design. Okay. I don't know who...
Or at least he doesn't care to pay people enough.
Yeah, because it's like... I do sound design. I do sound design for our vinyl word videos and for the projects that we do on the side.
Music.
It's not important. Music, music production, whatever. Sound isn't easy, and it isn't something that can be easily overlooked. And the part that really got me was this house is, it's essentially like an older home. They say like, it's been in their ancestors for a long time, but they bought it in the 80s or fucking whatever. But it's an old home, so it's rickety. They mention that about how like the stairs are super creaky and that the walls are fucking paper thin and whatnot. The sound design doesn't reflect that very well. There's a couple scenes that's like where a conversation is happening through a wall and you're supposed to hear it through there. And they do the standard, like they put a filter on it and whatnot, and they put a little bit of reverb
standard
to bring it like through the house.
Is a good adjective.
But they don't go far enough with it. The voices coming through, they aren't muffled in the right way to make it sound like the house that it's in. The sounds that you hear naturally just with the mics of the people interacting in the room don't reflect what you would hear through a wall. And it is difficult to do, I'll admit. Like, it is very fucking difficult to do. But this is a millions of dollar production. Like, stuff like that I don't feel like should be overlooked, especially when you're dealing with sound systems from theaters. Like, you have the flexibility to...
They had enough money to shoot this shit on fucking film.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they had the ability to go beyond with it, and I feel like they wanted to kind of have people be able to hear like what they're saying. But to me, whenever conversations are happening through walls, it's more about the fact that people in the other room can hear them, not specifically about what they're saying. Like, it's always done with like a little bit of sound coming through. You can hear the muffles, the filter's on, and it's muffling everything, and then it'll cut into the room and give you context of what they're saying. But that doesn't really happen here. They'll kind of give you little tidbits, and then over the course of like 3 to 4 different flashbacks throughout the next hour and a half, they'll give you the context of what was said, and then the context of what was actually said, and then the context of what the expectations you're being subverted is actually saying. And then you finally get the actual point. And that kind of just goes back to the fact that the information that they're giving you doesn't fucking matter at all, because they're just going to correct that information later and tell you that you weren't getting the whole truth. So why pay attention? Like, I guess I'm a Nazi for saying that, though. I mean, I guarantee Rian Johnson's going to be like, well, people don't look at me. And, yeah. Fuck Nazis, but, yeah, I might be one, I guess.
No. Sarcasm is strong. Music.
There was music.
There was music.
It was orchestra-y and tried to be intense. I mean, the opening one was, like, pretty intense.
Set design was fantastic.
The house was fucking incredible.
Incredible.
I honestly,
gorgeous.
I don't think that they built that set, though. I think they went, like, maybe a few of the props they probably put together, but I think they found a mansion where, like, we want to rent this place out to do a movie, and most of the stuff that was in there was already in there.
Which is cool.
Which is still fine.
Yeah.
Plenty of people do that, but I don't think Rian Johnson deserves, like, all of the, like, praise for how good the set looked.
Man, I wish this was a period piece. I don't normally like to bring the whole, like, I wish a movie could have done this when we do these reviews, but just, like, I really wish it took place in the, like, 70s or the 80s. Like, no phones.
Really? I was thinking, like, 1870s or 80s. I think it would have done way better than...
I don't think Rian Johnson can write characters that live in that time frame.
That's fair enough, but I just feel like the whole...
But it could have that kooky juxtaposition.
Yeah, like, there was plenty of ways to poison people back then, and there's plenty of, I guess
that house and stuff and some of the set design can't exist. I'd still want it to be like 20th century.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking at more like the suspension of disbelief essentially that comes with the whole morphine overdose thing.
Yeah.
I think if it was further back in time where forensics weren't as advanced, it would have worked way fucking better. And would have been awesome to...
The type of detective he is. Sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I was basically just going there. Like, he's very much a classic, old school detective that, solves things by having them fall in front of him.
Like, where'd he go? Did he hit him up on Facebook or something? Like...
Who?
Where's his ad? He hired the detective.
Oh, he sent him a letter.
He sent it, but how'd he find his ad? He was just like, I need to hire a detective. Like,
I mean, they mentioned something about how he had, like,
I'm
he
curious.
solved some case or
How
something like
to hire a detective.
I mean, apparently you can just send them mail.
Ben, private investigator, discreet, honest, reliable.
They'll
Pay us to stalk them.
Yep. We'll track down your ex-wife.
It's not stalking if you pay us. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I guess I can call a private investigator to stalk people. So
good to know.
Yeah.
Immediate review, bringing you that important knowledge.
Oh man,
hire someone to stalk your ex.
Man, this review's been a bit of a mess, but you know what? It reflects Rian Johnson's filmmaking style, so I think it's appropriate.
Say that, man. Don't say that,
I think it's appropriate.
I can see the swastika growing on your forehead right now.
What? Oh.
You're like, what?
For those who don't understand the context, with all the hate about The Last Jedi, there's a small slice of people who are just like douchebag Nazis, and so Rian Johnson like uses that slice to be like, oh, everybody who hates my movie is one of those guys. And so yeah, there's a bit of a sticky situation surrounding that.
Sticky, like Nazis masturbating in a bathroom. Sticky.
Yeah, and I could tell that Rian Johnson that's where he got the influence for that character and shit, is from all that stuff. And
Such a fucking waste of his acting.
And so we're being sarcastic with that shit.
But like, seriously, he did not know what to do with all of his actors.
I know.
Like, I don't know what the kid's actor's name is, but he is an amazing fucking actor, and he did not get justice in this fucking role. Like, you know, if you like, why?
I wouldn't have done this shit. Hey, do you want to play like a fucking Nazi who texts and it's funny? We're gonna be like, he's a Nazi troll. Isn't that great? That's my kid.
Yeah, you smoke cigars for a scene, but you only have like maybe 5 lines, and maybe he had more, and they just cut them all out. But like, man, it was like, why did you have all like this star-studded cast if you weren't going to use all of them to their full potential? Like, why write a script with 8 fucking characters when only 4 of them matter in any regard at all? Like, especially the fucking police officer characters. Like, you mentioned the stuff with the African American one, but the other dude, like, he was literally just there to like be a cop and like think that Rian Johnson's mystery building was amazing. Like, literally, there's a scene where he's explaining things and he's just like, oh, Rian Johnson, like, reveal things to me. It's fucking just like, come on.
Yeah, that is definitely the lesser role.
Yeah, it's like, you know.
And he doesn't even need that. That is so true.
Yeah. Honestly, the mother of the nurse had more lines than some incredibly good actors, and it was weird.
Oh my god, how'd you like that scene when it's like, let's meet in a dark concrete room, don't come near me, don't come near me.
Yeah, it's like she fucking isn't gonna bring a gun or something like that. I mean, fuck, it's like she can at least have a knife. The movie's called Knives Out. There's a giant fucking ring of knives she could have brought, but it's like she's incriminating a murderer.
Right.
And it's like, you know, oh, don't come near me. I don't have any means of defense, but I'm blackmailing you. It's like, fucking Jesus Christ.
Rian Johnson, he did a sneaky little title drop in this one. We caught it. But,
Yep, we caught that title drop.
But,
fucking...
Yeah, I always
I was a little late on it. You reacted a bit quicker than I did, but
yeah. It's better than the one in The Last Jedi. Oh yeah, and another thing that I love that he did in this that he also does in Last Jedi is like when Hugh goes to fucking stab fucking Madra. It was Matra, right?
The nurse.
No.
Hello, nurse.
But he goes to stab her, and it's a fake knife that like doesn't go through her. It's just like in Last Jedi when he goes to stab Luke, and I'm just like, dude, man, running dry. Okay,
about 40 minutes.
Woo!
I don't think this movie deserves much more than what we've given it at this point.
I know, man. We've been ranting and rolling, but
So, trailers. They showed one trailer.
Only one.
It was for
Bombshell.
Bombshell, yeah. So we haven't talked about this one. I honestly, this is the first I've heard of it, and it seems like it's about the Megyn Kelly incident that happened with Fox News a couple years back, and why she got fired and started her own like news thing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know a bunch of the details, but it seemed like Charlize Theron, and yeah, I'll check it out. I just bought Atomic Blonde recently, so hell yeah.
Fucking Charlize Theron, Margot Robbie, and who was the other?
There's one other one,
A-list
but
blonde.
yeah, A-list. I can't remember what her name was, but yeah.
It was Charlize Theron, Margot Robbie. It wasn't Sharon Stone. God dang it, who was it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is like the third or fourth time I've seen the trailer, and yeah,
really. So this is the first time I've seen it.
Oh yeah, I've been super stoked for this one. Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. That was. I wouldn't fucking remember that.
Yeah, it looks fun. It's Oscar bait. Tis the season to be baiting. So's Knives Out.
What kind of baiting?
It's Oscar baiting.
Monster baiting?
Monster baiting. But yeah, it's Oscar bait. Could be good Oscar bait. I don't know. I trust. I don't know. This. The actors they got for this, I just trust them. Like John Lithgow, fucking
yeah, him playing the head of Fox, I'm down with. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know much about it, so I'll definitely check it out and get more context from what it's trying to present.
I mean, we may not though, because we often tend to skip the biopics.
That's true. Yeah, it's really tough these days. Like Dr. Sleep, we were talking about, it's already out of theaters. Like we reviewed it and whatnot, but it's tough to like actually do a review channel and see all the movies. Like,
yep.
We've genuinely struggled trying to line both of our schedules up between work and everything else. Like, it is tough. So I can see why when people get the chance to do this full time, like with revenue and stuff, like they do it. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like we don't have enough time to go and see all the movies. Like, and we'll have a top 10, disclaimer about that. But like, it genuinely is hard to get out there to see everything. Like, even just in the week of Star Wars coming out, I feel like there's like 5 or 6 movies that we want to catch at that point. So it's like,
Dude,
yeah.
Cats, man.
Fucking, I don't want to watch Cats.
We are so seeing Cats. It looks like the most stupendously horrific movie ever, man.
No,
we have to be there.
Yeah, he's roping me into it, so we'll go see it.
This is gonna be like the send off of the decade of like here's the bad movie to represent the 2010s.
Oh, speaking of something bad, I know you did mention it, but like I need to talk about it before we do our final thoughts.
Is this about Knives Out still?
Yes.
Yep.
This movie had the fucking one of the worst fucking character traits I think I've ever experienced in a movie about espionage and lies. A character literally vomits when they fucking lie.
Alright.
That's their trait. They throw up when they lie.
In case, you were wondering why I did that at the beginning, that's why.
I'm surprised it's taken me this long to comment about this, but god fucking damn it. When that happened, I looked at Dakota like this for like a minute.
Like, it was the goofiest shit ever. And yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
And it's used so much as a plot device.
Yeah,
like,
it's like... Oh.
I know you puke. I know you puke. You fucking puke. Tell me. Tell me the truth, goddammit. She's like, I don't know. And just like, yeah, man, it's, some people are gonna love that, I think, but,
I laughed. Like, when she has the whole, like, lie in this specific order, and then she goes to the bathroom and is like... I laughed so fucking hard. I had nausea issues for a long fucking time, and I've thrown up a lot in my life, and that was funny as fuck. Like, that was so goddamn funny. Nobody goes into the bathroom and prepares to fucking puke like that.
Oh.
Like, nobody.
How surprised were you when she puked in his face? I mean,
I wasn't.
Haven't you never seen that in a movie before?
Mm-hmm.
Rian Johnson didn't subvert expectations there. What the fuck? She should have been like, actually, I don't have to puke. I'm cured.
Dude, it didn't subvert my expectations. Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah, man.
You dropped the ball, Rian Johnson. I know you're watching immediate review.
Dude, he probably is. That's all he fucking does all day is interact with people, not people like us. We don't harass Rian Johnson like online and shit. We just we just really don't appreciate his piss poor writing. But
at least this didn't like ruin a franchise. Like it's just his own IP, you know. Like he can do whatever he wants with it because it doesn't matter. It's not ruining anything of mine that I enjoyed as a child. So, yeah, go check it out. I mean, like it's early, you know. You'll get a chance to check out all the reviews of people who've seen it early. You know, it's a whodunit. It's Rian Johnson. If you don't give a shit about plot or movies or fucking anything like that, go see it. You'll have a blast. Take your family. You'll laugh.
We're fucking nerds.
You'll see vomit. Like it's acted great. Like if you love acting, go see it. It's worth it.
Oh, I would also add random thought number 237, subverting expectations in the fucking house. I really liked at the end of the movie. This was almost a sold out show. I haven't seen a crowd this big at Old Mill in a while, since Avengers, maybe. I think Avengers was the last time I was in a crowd this big at this theater. And at the end of the movie, like 4 people clapped.
And it wasn't a continuous thing. A lot of them were like pre-claps, like before the trailers happened. Little people would be like, eh.
Those 4 sounded like pity claps. And like, I had to see Dora the Explorer, that movie, and the audience was about a quarter full. And that audience applauded rapturously.
I didn't see Dora.
And yeah, so more people applauded at Dora than they did at Knives Out. That's all I gotta say.